With 2023 shaping up to be one of the best years for video games in a long while, mainly towards the end of the year with games like Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, and I mean, we've also had Final Fantasy 16, which is a pretty cool game. Hi-Fi Rush, did that come out this year? I think it did. That's a cool game. Redfall, fantastic game, huh? How about that? Hey, you can't have the bad, or you can't have the good without the bad. Tears of the Kingdom as well, Nintendo, shout out. There's just a lot to look forward to. There is a lot to consider, and I am extremely, extremely excited for what is to come. In particular, I am excited for a game, a little known game called Starfield. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that I own an Xbox, and I do prefer the Xbox/Microsoft kind of ecosystem, but that being said, I also am extremely, extremely appreciative of PlayStation and Nintendo. Wow! I know. No fucking way. This guy's a fucking... That's not allowed. That can't be happening here. Get this guy off YouTube. Get this guy off the videos. He can't be speaking. It's never been done before. That's a joke. It has been done before, and it will continue to be done unless you're either a troll or a smooth-brained individual or a hybrid of the two. In any case, Starfield. I am unbelievably excited for this video game as its scope is extremely alluring. Even though it might be a little bit tiresome to think about and ponder on, I'm also quite attracted by the promises the game is making and Bethesda are making, because, you know, they seem pretty promising. I mean, here's the thing. To explore the cosmos in elegant Bethesda fashion is something I can't say I was fully expecting when I was younger, playing Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I enjoyed the fuck out of that game, by the way. I can't say I was fully expecting a space game from Bethesda, but that being said, with the game being announced back in 2018 and the game being a passion project of sorts for Daddy Todd, my hype was only solidified by everything that has been announced and shown up to this point in time. I'm just extremely excited. I'm on my seat and I'm shaking because, like, the rocket's like, whoa, dude, it's going crazy in here, man. I love it. I can't wait for the game to come out. Of course, you know, after all, the recipe for incredible work is passion and an impeccable track record, right? Adding on top, you know, Microsoft's ZeniMax acquisition and all of its subsequent studios, and Bethesda's subsequent gain of Microsoft big bucks money, I was only, you know, sold on the hype train. Because with that much money backing your game and the passion of a studio that's been working on video games for decades, it's exciting to think about. And I understood, you know, back in 2018 that we could be in for a real scrumptious treat. With the recent 45-minute deep dive of Starfield, this one right here, they showcased interplanetary discovery, futuristic city with dystopian undertones. I'm a sucker for that shit, shout out Cyberpunk. Varying and diverse factions to either join or destroy. I'm also a huge fan of that. I want to destroy people. Intricate and deep character creation and shipbuilding. I'm sold. Like, there's nothing about Starfield that I'm not excited for. Well, say for a few things, but we'll get into that later. There's just so much to be excited for and so much to look at right now with the 45-minute deep dive, and so much to kind of think about and theorize about, which I love. You absolutely can make the comparison to No Man's Sky, but, and this is not to belittle or ignore Hello Games' accomplishments with No Man's Sky, because they did a fantastic job with No Man's Sky. To bring No Man's Sky into this world, which was essentially a stillbirth, and to be able to resuscitate what was essentially a dead infant and bring it back alive, and then allow it to go to university, school, whatever, like high school, elementary, university, and then allow it to get its own job, and then allow it to just have its own life in general. Hello Games did a fantastic job with No Man's Sky, and you can't deny or ignore that. It's difficult to ignore. Starfield has literal hundreds of thousands of voice lines, branching quest lines and storylines that the player will discover as they play the game, choices to make that'll inevitably affect the outcome of the end of the game, and of course, just everything you can expect from a Bethesda RPG. Starfield and No Man's Sky are completely different games, and there are many videos telling you that. There are videos also on a technical side that tell you how different Starfield is from the technical standpoint, not even talking about gameplay mechanics and gameplay systems and stuff like that. Like, it's incredibly different, even though, yes, they both take place in space, and yes, there is an aspect of resource gathering and whatnot. It's a completely different game. You can make the comparison in terms of resources, but outside of that, dude, that comparison is down. It does not hold water. It goes straight down the drain. But of course, you know, I'm excited for all these different things that Starfield is bringing, and I'm excited for all these different things that Starfield promises. But of course, promises can really fall through. Cyberpunk, please. Promises can fall through anytime. But that being said, of course, I still have my doubts, as any well-rounded individual would have it. I still have my doubts. I still have my skepticism. Starting with the elephant in the room and the topic that's been passed around like a blunt between bros on 420. There are over 1,000 planets to explore in this game. That is a staggering amount of places to go to and just explore. That's huge. It's exciting on one hand, but on the other and possibly bigger hand, there's the issue of content. How well does all this, I think Bethesda called it like negative space, where there's just like nothing. With that many planets to explore and places to go to, and all that space, which is filled up by, well, space, no shit, one has to wonder, you know, like, dude, what about all the content that we might be missing? All of the content that is expected from a Bethesda entry. Bethesda is known for their little quests and items that they sprinkle throughout their games that fill every nook and cranny of the world that they make. The difference here is that we're not building a world, we're building a literal fucking universe with our own solar system. I just find it difficult to think about the content that we will be missing. I also find it difficult to grasp how well all of that negative space will contribute to the player's experience regarding, you know, exploration and discovery in Starfield. I don't doubt that the Bethesda is going to be making a hell of an exploration type of game here with Starfield, and they are going for that NASA, I think they call it NASA punk type of vibe, wherein it's the beginning of space exploration, like the beginning of true exploration where we can actually go around the different stars and planets that exist within our universe. And I think that's great, but of course, again, it comes with that whole thing of like, what the fuck, there's just so much negative space here. How is that going to translate well to a good experience? I mean, you know, again, I understand that whole quality over quantity thing, right? And I'm sure that whatever content Bethesda has already set up for Starfield is going to be plenty, and it's going to be well made. I don't doubt that for a second. Okay, that's a lie. I have a few seconds of doubt, but it's Bethesda. Like, I think the content that's already there will be good at the very least. And, you know, we can also start deferring to mods in this case. Bethesda has a very, very rich modding community, wherein even in some cases, some people from the modding community get hired by Bethesda, which is an incredible thing to do from Bethesda's end. And it's also an incredible thing to see that there are people, modders in particular, who spend the time because they love whatever the fuck Bethesda's making, and they just love games in general. They spend the time, they, you know, make the effort to really make something incredible on top of what already has been made. There's probably something in there about like originality and like not having enough from the vanilla base game, but still, you know, if the modding community is there, it's there. But of course, you can also ask the question like, will mods be on console? Yeah, probably. I think mods will definitely be on console, especially when you consider that Skyrim and Fallout 4 both have had mods on console. So I don't doubt mods will be on console. So we'll see. I guess it's a question of the extent of mods, what kind of mods will be on console, and whether or not those mods will be good. So I guess we'll find out, right? Another anxiety of mine regarding Starfield would be the settlement slash base building aspect of the game. They've had this mechanic or like this system in Fallout 4, but I never really enjoyed it or liked it, so I completely did not use it in any of my playthroughs for Fallout 4, and I played Fallout 4 quite a bit. I just never really liked it, so I'm sure they've improved on that system, and I'm sure they've made it easier. They've probably made it more enjoyable, at least to the people who like it anyway. And I'm sure there will be an audience for the base building, settlement building aspect of Starfield. But I also feel like the settlement building, the base building aspect of Starfield is one of those things that Bethesda made, and maybe they were just like in the development of Starfield, like, hey, let's just throw shit and like see what's gonna fucking stick on the wall, you know what I mean? Outside of these two main issues though, I think I'm just really excited for Starfield. There's so much I feel like that we have yet to understand about the game. I mean, they've revealed quite a bit in the 45-minute deep dive. You know, character creation, dude, that looks deep as balls. I love the way that it looks. I love the way that you can make this guy fucking follow you. This is a throwback to Oblivion, although I never actually got this guy to appear in Oblivion. But character creation in Starfield is deep. It's huge. It's a big part of the game, and it'll really make the experience for the player. And I'm excited for that because I was sorely missing that in Cyberpunk 2077, and I want a big fix of like character creation. I want to make a character that adheres to its traits, their traits, the way I set up the character, and I don't want it to just all end up being funneled into this single kind of ending or this single kind of playthrough, which is kind of what Cyberpunk was. But that being said, I still think Cyberpunk 2077 is a fantastic game. Go watch my video on that. I feel like there's just a lot more to Starfield than we know about, and I'm really excited for it. And I think, as Digital Foundry put it as well, Starfield is actually a good-looking Bethesda game. Yes, Skyrim and Oblivion looked good, kind of, for their time, but they didn't wow me. At the time Skyrim came out, there were other games that looked better than it. And Fallout 4, it was mediocre in terms of visuals when it came out. There were other games that looked better than Fallout 4. But that being said, Starfield looks good. The materials, they're very shiny, metallic objects. Also considering the other technical aspects of Starfield, Digital Foundry touched on the topic of object permanence, which would be a very interesting thing to see in Starfield, because you can just leave something out in the vastness of space and it'll still be there. How do you even go about that in terms of like technical requirements? I feel like you'd need like a million gigabytes of like RAM or some shit. But I mean, I'm excited. There's so much to think about and theorize about. A lot of people have made so many different videos about Starfield. This is just me kind of like, yeah, I'm so excited, because I am, and I wanted to share it. You know, I feel like it'd be nice to share, and you know, I'm pretty excited for what Starfield has to offer. There are a few other games that I will talk about in future videos that I'm also excited for that are coming out this year, namely Baldur's Gate 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. God damn. And these games are coming out like next to each other, adjacent to each other. You know, these games, oh, I'm so excited for these games, dude. Baldur's Gate 3 I'm excited for, not because I played Baldur's Gate 1 or 2, but because I've played Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. The developers of Divinity? What the fuck? The developers of Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 are making Baldur's Gate 3, and Divinity Original Sin 2 was probably some of the most fun I've had in an RPG, and it's probably one of the more hardcore RPG games that I've played. So fun. And to hear that they're doubling down on their systems, that they're expanding on what they've already made with Divinity Original Sin 2, I'm fucking excited, dude. That's, without me noticing, I easily spent 20 hours in oh my god. Say Divinity Original Sin 2 5 times fast. Divinity Original Sin 2, Divinity Original Sin 2. I'm just bad at saying English. I spent an easy 20 hours in Divinity Original Sin 2 without me noticing. That time just disappeared out the window, and I'm like, holy shit, like, what happened? I was just sucked into this game world. It's absurd. So I'm pretty excited for Baldur's Gate 3, and of course, Phantom Liberty, Cyberpunk 2077. I love that game. I love that universe in general. Shout out Edge Runners, but I'm excited to see what comes from those games. I wish I was born 4 or 5 years ago, dude. Because if I'm like, listen, if I was born 5 years ago and I had an older brother or maybe cool parents, not my parents are cool, but like if I like had video gamey parents, whatever, and they introduced me to this shit, I would have a blast, and I would be shaking as a child. I would be like, oh my god, look at all these games, man, and you know, I'm just excited for it. So that's basically it for this video. Again, I will be covering more of the different games that will be coming out this year. I'll also be doing a review of Diablo 4 because I got that game recently and I like it, but of course there's some caveats there. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. There's so much content out on YouTube and different social media platforms, and I'm extremely appreciative of everybody who takes the time to watch the video. It means a lot to me. And of course, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, okay? Because it helps me, and it helps you because you get content in return. I'll catch you guys in the next video and possibly the next live stream. See ya. Good night, good evening, good day to you, sir, and have a good one. See ya.